Hello, Internet Radio Land. This is Michael Paulus, and I am sitting in today for Jonathan Rosser, who is outside handling business. We want to take this opportunity to thank the Light.Live for this platform, giving us the opportunity to reach out to the people, talk about things that matter to them, especially the black community. Eventually, I am going to say that this is going to impact all of America, and it's also going to be a good thing for everyone involved. So, without further ado, I want to jump into today's program. We've got 30 minutes, and I want to make this as impactful as possible. So, a couple of things here. I want to take some time to address a comment that was actually made after our last podcast last week. So, if you guys remember, last week we spoke about the new infrastructure bill, and we talked about what was in that infrastructure bill, what was not included in that infrastructure bill as well. So, after that podcast, I did receive some commentary, and I just want to acknowledge what that commentary was. I'm not going to state who it came from, but quite frankly, the comment was along the lines that the unused portions of the CARES Act, which was to address COVID from the previous administration, it was not 263 billion like I represented. So the amount of money that is actually going to be repurposed from the CARES Act and actually included as part of the infrastructure bill is actually a fraction of that. It's actually 22 billion that's going to be appropriated from the CARES Act into the infrastructure bill. So I want to make that clear for a couple of reasons. One, it's always our intent on this show to demonstrate integrity, and in doing so, it's necessary that we acknowledge when we fall short of sharing the correct information with the people. So, nonetheless, the bill as it stands is a very important part of what it's going to take for us to actually get to a level where we can move forward in this country and address some critical items that have been left void and neglected for far too long. So I just wanted to take a moment to really acknowledge that. I think it's important as we continue to expand this program, all of the things we talk about on this program, and all of the objectives that we're trying to achieve in speaking with the people. So that correction is complete, and let's move on to today's topic. So today I want to take the time out to talk about a couple of things. So I promised to you guys last week that what we wanted to do is we want to take this infrastructure bill and we want to really take it and dissect it. So over the course of today and subsequent shows, we are going to do just that. We are going to take this bill and we're going to dissect it a little bit. Not necessarily all aspects of the bill, but I do want to take time to address the ones that are most important to the people of America and help them to understand how it actually impacts them. So I want to start today by just giving you a quote for the day. And the quote for today is that transportation should be a source of growth and mobility, not division and exclusion. Let me say that again. Transportation should be a source of growth and mobility, and not division and exclusion. That actually was a quote by Senator Ben Cardin, who is a Democrat out of Maryland, and he's currently the chairman of the EPW Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee. So it's a pretty fitting statement for today's topic. So what I want to talk about today is essentially just the reconnected communities part of that infrastructure bill. Okay, so let's take some time to dig through this a little bit. So in that bill, in the infrastructure bill that was approved by the Congress last week and signed into law by the current President Joe Biden, that bill contains $1 billion to reconnect communities, okay? $1 billion to reconnect communities, mainly disproportionately black neighborhoods that were divided by highways and other infrastructure, okay? This bill is designed to fund planning, design, demolition, and reconstruction of street grids, parks, and other infrastructure. Okay, so let's take this and start to dissect it a little bit so everyone has a clear understanding of what this actually means. I'm going to start off by saying this. I don't think $1 billion is going to be enough, but I think a lot of the individuals who have looked through this infrastructure bill in a lot of detail have come to the same conclusion. Conclusions I'm going to share with you why. So let's go through this show for today. And what I want to do is I want to give you a little bit of history, not about the bill, but about the highway infrastructure piece of this. The meaning of reconnected communities. I want to talk about the problem that is actually in front of us and what the bill proposes to resolve. Okay, so a little bit of history. So our interstate system as it exists today was under the Eisenhower administration. It was actually called the Eisenhower Interstate System, and it was designed as a network of controlled access roads and highways that basically formed what we know today as the National Highway System in the United States. Now, that system extends, as you all know, throughout the United States, but it also has provisions in it for routes in states like Hawaii, the state of Alaska, and in some of the United States territories, American Samoa, Guam, specifically Puerto Rico, okay, and the United States Virgin Islands. And it's important for us to know that this highway system, as it was built, was designed for a couple of specific reasons. One of them being for the advancement and the ability for the United States military logistics structure to move munitions and equipment across the states. Okay, so let's think about that for just a minute. The United States military had a need to be able to transport munitions and equipment from state to state. And in doing so, the highway structure came into place. And a lot of places we acknowledge that our highway structure will move towards the general population and it will expand as far as the lanes are concerned. But for the vast majority of the interstates across the country, there are still a lot of 4-lane divided highways that stretch out into the rural districts of of a state. So, this was part of an act, the Federal Road Act of 1916, that authorized the construction of this national grid, and the Federal Highway Aid Act of 1921 basically set the platform or the foundation for the road construction in the United States. Then in 1926, we actually moved towards a naming structure for that highway system. So that's a little bit of the history that goes back to the Eisenhower administration. The objective, of course, again, was to allow for the movement of munitions and equipment for the United States military. However, it's also it has to be said that in creating this highway system, it did connect communities in our country unlike anything anybody expected. So, for those of us who were not, fortunate enough to travel by rail car or air during that time period where commercial aviation was not really big, we were actually on the springboard, essentially trying to increase aviation capacity and railway capacity at the same time. But if you wanted to utilize the roads to travel from state to state, you can do so. And it connected neighborhoods and communities. However, it also divided our neighborhoods and communities many times over. And also along not just economic, but also racial lines. So if you take the actual highway system as it currently exists in most states, you can actually take that highway system, move it through a major city. You will see that there is what we call the inner city associated with a lot of those highway structures. And then you will see a series of streets, roads, and boulevards that branch off of the highway system in more rural and suburban communities that separate the affluent from the inner city population. So just understand that for just a moment, and hang on for me for just a few more minutes. So that's essentially the history of the highway system in the United States. Now, we're specifically talking about the reconnected communities part of this infrastructure bill. So what does that mean, reconnected communities? I am going to take this time to really try to explain it to the listening audience in a manner that actually makes sense. So as I look through the bill, and I read this thing, several times over the course of the past couple of weeks, in some of its variations, and even in the final bill itself. So, reconnected communities. Some people may say that a reconnected, there's not really a definition in the bill of what a reconnected community means, but some people may say that a reconnected community or a connected community is being part of a community that knows who lives next door to you. People that you don't mind saying hello to, smiling with, waving, stopping off for a little chat, and it goes without saying that connected communities consist of a group of individuals that actually talk to each other and look out for each other. Okay. Another definition that I think is probably a little more fitting is a connected community would be one where there's a partnership between nonprofit, private, neighborhood, business, government, and leadership within a specific community and its residents to address the needs of that community. Okay? That's what a connected community means to me. Okay? In these communities, what we're trying to do here is basically utilize a system, okay, that provides for housing, but also cradle to career to retirement. Okay, so from the time an individual is born right through the point in time that they actually move through the educational system, develop careers, and they actually have an ability to retire in comfort. Okay, this must also encompass community health and wellness, along with long-term economic development, and in the process of doing that, reducing poverty. And if you look at our highway systems today, you can probably pinpoint a couple of locations within the United States where interstate highways have actually been drawn across racial and economic lines. So if you really want to connect communities, the objective should be to get to the point where we can actually say without any doubt that those connected communities take into consideration all of those components. We hear the term gentrification, basically new individuals moving into a community, upending the community, infilling that community with a higher cost housing, bigger housing, acquiring the land at a fraction of the value of it, and then making it such that the tax structure is not something that the residents, those who are retired or approaching retirement, can afford any longer, right? So, some say that that's a natural act that happens within our country. However, you have ways that you can actually mitigate gentrification in a manner that actually makes it conducive for all of the residents. So this does have to be a nonprofit public-private partnership to connect those neighborhoods, businesses, government, nonprofit leaders, and other community leaders, governmental leaders, so that they have a clear understanding of all of the ramifications and all of the negative impacts of these connected communities. So for all intents and purposes, again, connected communities, the aim should be to engage all of these entities in a collaborative fashion to achieve a unified vision for what's called a thriving community or a thriving neighborhood. That is my best definition that I can give you of what's called a connected community, right? So now that we've talked about the highway system and we've talked about reconnected communities, let's talk about this bill a little bit. So the problem with this bill is that it only appropriates $1 billion towards reconnecting those communities. In some respects, I think it's a little vague with respect to what they really want to achieve by this. But I can tell you, just based on what I know, is that I often talk about the different systems that impact the lives of African Americans, and if you look at most inner cities, they consist of a significant amount of a minority population. So what does it mean when you actually run an interstate through the inner city, consisting of a large amount of a predominantly minority population? Okay, I'll tell you exactly what that means. Okay, it means that, okay, first and foremost, you have what's called noise pollution. Okay, so to mitigate that, the government and some private entities over the past couple of years have implemented a system where they are using what's called rubberized concrete or rubberized asphalt. And what that's designed to do, it's supposed to reduce the noise level that's produced on the highway system. So they're using tires, and they're infusing the tires with aggregate and other chemicals in such a manner that the average car or truck moving across the highway will not produce a high level of noise that will actually increase the noise pollution that we actually see in some of these cities. Okay, the next thing that we have to worry about is air pollution. Okay, so we are running predominantly gas vehicles on America's interstates, highways, roads. Our primary mode of transportation in a lot of cities is automobile. And the gases emitted from those automobiles do cause some threat to the environment. So if you actually have a major city with a 10-lane divided highway running through the middle of it, and you have housing and other small minority-owned businesses, educational structures, schools, and other elements within that area, the vast majority of cars traversing that highway are going to emit enough pollution that the health of the people in that neighborhood, you have to expect it to be consistent with the amount of air pollution that's being emitted in that area. See where I'm headed? So it's important for us all really understand and really get a good idea of what it means within these bills, how government plans to remediate some of these issues that have been plaguing us for such a long time. Okay, so in addition to that, we are connecting cities, right? However, let's talk about quality of life for just a moment. If you have poor health, if you do not have a quiet night's sleep because of tractor trailers blowing their horn on the interstate when they're passing by, and you're trying to get a good night's sleep, and you are in an older house that does not have insulated windows, your sleep is going to be impacted. You're not going to be well rested. You do not perform well on the job. All of these different components, causes performance issues that eventually impact lower income communities, right? So, it's important to understand what some of the effects of our roads and the interstate system actually, what they actually have to do with, our overall health. It's very important that you guys understand that. Okay, so the Reconnecting Communities Act is again designed to empower those communities to reverse these effects. All right, so they call it the unfortunate legacy, and some of the provisions in the bill speak about building spaces over the highways and around the highways and revitalizing parks and other areas in their neighborhoods so that the residents can actually enjoy some degree of peace over a period of time, okay, and see themselves moving towards a space where they can actually have the ability to really connect with their neighbors. All right, so That's essentially what we are looking at with respect to this bill. Okay, so um, uh, another thing that I really want to take the last few minutes to really address is just how important it is to not look at this bill uh, in its components. I'm breaking apart this piece for a specific reason because I need you to understand the impacts associated with the bill as it's currently written and how certain segments are aiming to address problems that exist today. Okay, I am so happy that our Congress actually took the time out to put this infrastructure package together. It is very important for us to be in a position where we can really overcome some of the obstacles that have plagued this country for so many years. But you know, a much bigger piece that I need everyone on this call to understand is that as we are moving towards looking at infrastructure, these incremental pieces of this bill work in concert with other pieces of the bill. Okay, so the other pieces of the bill are aimed at stemming issues relative to broadband upgrades, transit, and rail. Okay, um, electric vehicles, so on and so forth, environmental remediation, upgrading the airports, ports, and waterways, et cetera, et cetera. We could talk about this stuff forever, but here's one thing I really want to get across to you today on this session. All right, it is vital that we engage as a community to hold our elected officials responsible to ensure that the highway systems and this infrastructure bill is equitably distributed across the areas that are impacted. What do I mean by that? So when these bills get passed, senators at different state levels are given the opportunity to receive these funds, and by receiving these funds, they have the ability to disperse those funds across different counties and different projects across the state. What I don't want to see in this bill is that money not being utilized, okay, not being utilized to really impact or address issues in the inner city. I don't want to see the bill, being farmed out to a vast majority of majority-owned contracting companies. Okay, we talk about grant and aid. Whenever it comes to grant and aid, we also have to address some inequities in that area as well. So I would like for us to make sure that our government officials engage minority contractors in different cities, in different states, to put this bill in place. Okay, there should be no reason why a 15% majority, 50% population that's represented by people of color, black people, only see 1% representation when it comes to contracting these bills. We should have organizations, minority organizations, equivalent to, or in some cases maybe greater than the 15% representation that we actually have in this country, being awarded some of those contracts. And if they're not initially awarded those contracts because of qualification, partner them with an agency or another organization that will help them get to a point where they can, in the future, qualify as a top agency for some of these contracts. Okay, so all of these things pretty much go hand in hand. We have to have a coordinated effort to ensure that the contractors are there, the money is distributed appropriately across the different inner cities that are impacted. We also need to make sure that we have the educational structure in place. I'm talking about apprenticeships and all of these different programs that will give us the ability to upskill resources so that we can place them in those jobs. Okay. We also need to have studies by healthcare professionals on the impacts of some of the activities surrounding the implementation of this critical piece. Okay, so if we're really talking about reconnecting communities, we want to ensure that it is really addressing those core issues, some of those that I mentioned earlier. Okay, we want to ensure that we are reducing noise pollution. We are working towards improving our streets, our neighborhoods. We're providing resources such that neighborhoods or certain areas of our community that have poor access for whatever reason, that police, fire, ambulance, all of the emergency services have the ability to get to those areas in a quick fashion. We need to have an educational component so that we can actually utilize individuals in those areas to help improve the community. But likewise, we need to also educate those communities, especially communities of color, on how to preserve those communities moving forward. Okay, all of this sounds good on the surface, but unless we actually have a goal in place by which we can actually preserve those communities for generations, it serves us no good. We just need to make sure that our governmental officials take those things into consideration. We hold them accountable for that. All of this is going to actually help to improve the economic conditions for our communities. Okay. All right. And in the process of doing that, we just need to make sure that our media gives it the proper coverage that it deserves. So I implore you to listen to this call today. Take that as a point of action. Become involved. Go to different town hall meetings. Listen to what's being said. Voice your concern. Whenever your elected officials, both at the state level, county level, city level, they have meetings, get involved, get engaged. That's what I implore you to do today. This is not just for me as an individual. It's for me. It's for you. It's for our succession, our lineage, our children, because they're the ones that are going to be the ultimate benefactors of all of our initiatives. Okay, so I really need you guys to take this to heart. So all things considered, I really hope that today's session has been a very insightful one for you. I do want to take the time to acknowledge the Light.Live again. Time and time again, they've allowed us to utilize this platform for a number of reasons, and one of them being the ability to talk with the community and talk about things that matter to them. It is welcoming that we have engagement, so those of you who are communicating with us by email, again, if you need to get a hold of me or the facilitator, Mr. Rosser, you can always reach out to us by email. You can send your comments to info at level6strategies.com. So it's info at level, Level, 6, the Roman numeral 6, VI, strategies, strategies.com. And we will get back to you typically within a 24-hour time frame. And if there are corrections that we need to make based on items that we have discussed today, by all means, we will do that. So let me use the last couple of seconds here to really give you guys an update on a couple of other things that we're looking forward to discussing with you on the next call and the next session and the weeks and months coming up. So there are a couple of initiatives, high-level initiatives, that are going to mean a lot for the black community. Employment of blacks, the education of blacks in our communities. I think it is important that black Americans really take to heart some of the information that's being shared here, because it's going to be life-changing for so many. There are a couple of components that are really coming together at a national level that are going to really propel our communities forward in a way that we can never imagine. So I urge you to stay tuned to this program for those developments as they come forth. And again, thank you for having me today. I'm Dr. Michael Paulus. I'm the co-host with the facilitator, and I look forward to talking to you guys again next week. And thank the Light.Live for this opportunity.